is 24th October 2020. Earlier on 2nd September, on Tibetan Democracy Day, I made my announcement for my candidacy for Sigong 2021. And then a little over a month later, on 17th October, I spoke on the most important topic: how do we resolve the Tibetan issue if I am entrusted with the post of Sigong by the Tibetan public. And since then, there have been quite a number of requests for me to speak also in English so that non-Tibetans who can't or fully understand Tibetan can also make sense of what I intend to do if I'm made the Sigong. And just a few minutes earlier, I went on live to speak to the general public about the role and responsibility of the Tibetan cabinet, that is the Kashag. When we say Central Tibetan Administration, just as in any other democratic country, consists of the three pillars of democracy: that is the judiciary, the Supreme Justice Commission, legislative, the Tibetan Parliament in exile, and executive, the Kashag. Now, all these three organs of democracy have a responsibility towards resolving the cause of Tibet, and also to look after the welfare of the Tibetans in exile. These are the two main responsibilities of the CTA. But amongst these three, Kashag has the responsibility to execute policies and programs laid down by the Tibetan Parliament in exile or adopted by the Tibetan Parliament in exile, and make sure that it is executed in accordance with the charter and the rules and regulations made by the Tibetan Parliament in exile. Now, should I be entrusted with the responsibility of Sigong, signed 2021, I have to make my intentions clear as to what I intend to do. The Kashag consists of Sigong and 7 other ministers. My intention is to fill all the 7 posts, 7 ministerial posts. And among them, I have every intention to appoint at least 3 women in the cabinet. That is unprecedented. It has never happened before. Now, for that to happen, of course, I have not contacted anybody directly so far. The candidates should, if I win, if you entrust me with the responsibility, then the candidates should accept, and also the parliament should also approve. Now, if that happens, that is what I intend to do with the cabinet as a whole, so that we don't lapse in fulfilling our duties. Every department will have its own minister to carry out its duties. Now, to fulfill these responsibilities, we need very qualified members in the Kashag. When we say qualified, we need people who are experienced in that particular field. If it's home, it has to be somebody who has enough experience to run that department. And they also need education to do that, to come up with new ideas to how to move forward. Now, besides this very basic requirement to become a Khalek, when I appoint my Khaleks, when I nominate my Khaleks, they would also need to meet 4 other criteria. The first, it's not just enough to have faith and belief in His Holiness Dalai Lama. These candidates should be well informed, and they should have thoroughly studied the thoughts of His Holiness Dalai Lama and be able to carry out that responsibility without causing any sense of concern to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. We have to make sure that His Holiness at this age should not be disturbed by our own inefficiencies. That is very important. That is the first criteria. The second criteria is that the cabinet should be well versed. Cabinet members should be well versed in the charter and the rules and regulations that govern the Tibetans in exile. So any work they carry out should conform with the charter and the rules and regulations, and they should be able to carry it out efficiently. The third criteria is that they should be able to lead their own department independently and take all their staff with them collectively and be able to produce constructive, concrete results of all the programs laid down by the Kashar. Then the fourth responsibility for criteria, which is the most important in a democratic system, is that these cabinet members should be able to be answerable to the Tibetan parliament in exile and the general public, be accountable to the parliament and the general public, and be responsible. So responsible, accountable, and answerability. These three are main important components of accountability, what it means to be accountable to the people who have elected you or selected you to govern them. So that is very important. So I'll make sure that all the candidates that I nominate or I come out with before the parliament fulfills this criteria. Now, in terms of how do I carry out the responsibility of the Kashak, I've already raised three main basic principles in my first statement on 2nd September. The first one is my commitment. It's kind of an oath. In Tibetan we say Tamja, that whatever we do, since we follow democracy, we'll make sure that we follow the rule of law. Rule of law and the importance of institutions is the most important part of democracy. Not individuals, not individual personality. So then all the policies of the Kashak, of my Kashak, will be consistent and very, very clear as to what we want to do. Now, based on those policies, in line with those policies, we will develop programs. And all these programs will be carried out in an equitable way. That is my commitment, equitable. Equitable means to be fair, to be just, and to be unbiased, to be equal. Whether there are people who supported me or not, or differences of background, whatever may be the differences, whatever we do will be equitable, just and fair. And now, how do we go about this? Which means as to the way and the means, how do we do it? That's the co-effort. It can mean collective effort, or it can also mean cooperative effort. So through co-effort of the three pillars of democracy, which I've already explained before, every organ of democracy have a different identity, different role and responsibility. But when we function, when everybody does their work efficiently, then we are pulling in all our energies together. Then there is also the autonomous bodies. The autonomous bodies within the Central Tibetan administration are the Audit Department, Public Service Commission, and Election Commission. Of course, because of their independence in its functions, the Kashak will never interfere in the functions of the autonomous bodies, but will make sure to make improvements for future. We will support these three independent organizations on any matters they think fit to make improvements in future. Then civil servants. Civil servants are the backbone of the executive. Without the civil servants, how much ever or whatever good ideas and policies we have, programs we have, civil servants are the one who implement it. So there need to be collective effort between the Kashak and the civil servants. And we need to respect the civil servants because they have been working over the years in various departments, getting more and more experience every year. And it's important for us to seek their input also in terms of how do we implement programs. So there also we have to bring in collective effort. Then there is also the collective effort between the governmental and the non-governmental organizations. When I say that, I'm not saying that we have to mix these two. Every single non-governmental organization, whether it is formed with a political background or a social background or educational background or religious background, non-governmental organization, which is the civil society, which is a very important component of the democracy. The Central Tibetan Administration will have its role in everything that we do. And then the non-governmental organizations will also have their responsibilities apart from the other levels of society that we will talk about later. So there has to be collective effort there. Then we are talking about the Tibetan settlements in India, Nepal, Bhutan. Then we are talking about the scattered communities in India, Nepal, Bhutan. Then we are talking about the Tibetan communities outside India, Nepal, Bhutan. So all these communities will also have to play a very important role in the collective effort of whatever we want to do or we need to do. Then within the Tibetan community, because of the grace of His Holiness Dalai Lama and with the help of our host countries, now a number of Tibetans are educated. Many are in very well-placed positions. Some are China experts, some are Tibetan experts. So we will seek inputs from Tibetan scholars and people who are well experienced in that particular field. So there has to be collective effort of the Tibetan scholars and also experienced Tibetans. Then we will also bring in collective effort of the wisdom of the older generation and intelligence of the younger generation. If we combine these two, I think it's going to be a very explosive combination. Of course, there will be differences, but then there are ways to bring it together, and that is how we'll do it. So that encompasses my idea of how do we accomplish our policies and programs through collective effort, because collective effort also includes unity, also includes inclusiveness, and all other factors that bring all of us together. Then the objective, as I mentioned before, on 2nd September, our objective is to move forward. Now there is no space and there's no time to move back. So we have to move forward. With this objective in mind, we have to put in every single effort to find a solution for the Tibetan issue at the earliest and care for the welfare of the Tibetan people. And this is a very broad structure of how I intend to carry out my duties if you entrust me with your votes to the position of Sikkim. So today I'll close here with this topic, and in the next 1-2 days, I will, as per the request, I will record in English what I've said on 2nd September, announcing my candidacy for Sikkim 2021, and then on 17th October, how do we resolve the cause of Tibet. So these two issues are recorded separately and it will be broadcasted to you. Please do listen I'm not saying that you should listen only to me. Please listen to all the candidates and think for yourself as to who intends to do what. And then you decide who you can trust your vote with. That is the only way to do it. You can, just being biased is not enough. Just being misinformed. People say things about other people, and then you don't have the capacity to make a judgment of it. That creates all the problems. So be mindful, understand your candidate, know what they want to do, and then you trust your vote on him or her. That's up to you. I'm not saying you should vote for me. All I'm saying is, if you entrust me with your vote and give me the responsibility, I'll make sure that I do all these things. So in the next coming 7-8 weeks, I'll be speaking on different topics. Next week, Saturday, same time, I'll speak 7 p.m. India time. I'll speak on how do we sustain the Central Tibetan administration and improve on what we have already achieved. So that is going to be a little broader subject. Maybe I'll have to divide that into 2 parts, or maybe we can finish in 1 part, because it's not possible to satisfy every single person. You know, the first time when I spoke, it went up to 1 hour 10 minutes, and some people say it's very long. And the last time I spoke, it was 26 minutes, and some people were saying it's very short. And today's live program was only about 22 minutes. So I cannot fulfill everybody's wishes, but I'll make sure that whatever I intend to do, I'm not trying to respond to others. I'm not listening to others in the sense that I listen to everything. No, I don't do that. I'll just speak my mind as to what I intend to do. And then you decide whether what I'm saying has meaning or usefulness or not. That's up to you. So please be free to make your judgment. I also take this opportunity, since it's election time and many youngsters are not aware of Tibetan politics or Tibetan history. It's important that we speak about these topics. It's important for you also to understand how many people are standing for the election, what is their background, what they have done, what they intend to do. All this is very important for you to understand, because in my case also, some people feel that I'm very conservative. But on the contrary, I feel I'm too liberal, because I follow His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama is one of the most liberal persons in this world. We are not being dogmatic. We have to look at the reality of situation and then seek solution. We have to think about what causes all these issues and then come up with solutions. This is what I've been doing for many years, and over the last few months, I have more time at hand. So I've been really thinking hard as to all the challenges that we face today and what we might have to face tomorrow, and then think about solutions as to how we can resolve those. Thank you for listening. See you next time on another topic, another issue, and I'm sure my people will open a YouTube account where they will serialize all my talks. And if you have not been able to listen to some of my talks, you can always go back to YouTube and then check the content and listen to what I've said before in Tibetan, of course, and in English now. With this, we'll start trusting in English as much as possible. Every given topic can be answered.